pulling a calf free from the riverbank with her bare hands. He had ridden out expecting to find a boy from the village who had answered his notice, someone young and eager who needed coin. Instead, he found Elena sunburned, sharp-eyed, and completely unbothered by the fact that she was covered in mire, while the Baron of Veldmore sat watching from his horse. "You answered my notice," he said. "It wasn't a question." "You need someone who shows up," she replied, finally wrestling the calf onto dry ground. "I showed up." He hired her that afternoon, mostly because no one else had come. Aldrich was not a cruel man, but he was a lonely one, the kind of lonely that grows quietly over years until it becomes something almost comfortable. Like a wound a person forgets to heal, his wife had died 6 winters ago. His only son had gone to serve in a distant city and never returned. The estate had grown hollow around him, filled with servants who feared his silence more than his words. He managed his lands, paid his taxes, and spoke to almost no one. Elena changed the rhythm of things, though not in any dramatic way at first. She was simply present. She arrived before sunrise and stayed past sunset. She knew cattle the way some people know old friends, by their moods, their small protests, their habits. Within a week, she had reorganized his entire grazing rotation in a way that his old herdsman had apparently never thought to do. Within 2 weeks, she had stopped a sickness from spreading through his prized herd by isolating 3 animals before anyone else even noticed the signs. He began to watch her work from the study window. He told himself it was oversight. It wasn't. One evening, he rode out to the eastern pasture and found her sitting on the fence post, staring at the horizon with an expression he recognized. It was the look of someone carrying something too heavy to put down but too familiar to mention. He asked. She was quiet for a long moment. "My father had a farm. Bigger than yours, actually." She said it without bitterness, but the word had hung in the air between them. He didn't push. But she told him anyway, slowly, over the following weeks. The way truth tends to come out when 2 lonely people stop pretending not to see each other. The lender had been dishonest, the paperwork crooked. And by the time her father understood what he had signed, the land was already gone. He died the following winter. Her mother had gone to live with relatives. Elena had refused charity and come looking for work instead. "You could have lied," Aldrich said one evening. "Told me you were someone's nephew. I might have paid you more." She looked at him steadily. "I don't need more. I need honest." Something in him broke open quietly at that. The real turning point came in late autumn, during the cattle drive to the market at Keswick. 3 hired men, a steep trail, and a storm that arrived 2 days ahead of the forecast. The river crossing that had been shallow that morning became a churning, violent thing by afternoon. One of the hired men froze. Another turned back. The cattle were panicking at the bank, and 20 animals represented nearly everything Aldrich had invested in that season. Then Elena rode forward. She had borrowed a horse from the stable that everyone else considered unrideable, a large gray stallion named Cinder, who had thrown 3 men and bitten a 4th. She rode him like they had an agreement no one else was privy to, and she crossed that river 4 times. 4 times, guiding cattle through water that knocked a grown man off his feet. By the end, her hands were bleeding from the rope, her boots were filled with water, and she was shaking from cold, but every single animal made it across. Aldrich had crossed himself on the 2nd trip, terrified, barely keeping up. He watched her on the 4th crossing and felt something he had not felt in years, admiration so pure it ached. That night, camped on dry ground with the herd accounted for and the storm retreating, he told her the truth. That Aldrich had said things he had spent 6 years regretting and never found a way to repair. He told her that the loneliness was partly punishment he had assigned himself. He wept a little, which surprised them both. Elena didn't offer easy comfort. She sat with him in the honesty of it, and that was better. In the spring, Aldrich wrote a letter. His son received it in the city, read it twice, and began the journey home. In that same spring, Aldrich transferred the deed of the eastern pasture into Elena's name, not as payment. As recognition, she had not saved his cattle. She had saved something far harder to replace. She planted her father's name on a small stone at the pasture's edge. Some mornings, before the sun was fully up, she would stand there and feel